I owe my entire career as a writer to a little girl that died in 1870. Here's what happened. I was approached a little over 10 years ago by the couple that ran the bar at the time. They asked me, they said, hey, you do property research? I said, yeah. They said, hey, can you find out if Kearny's was ever built on a cemetery? Yeah, why? So, well, Mike Kearny dug up a headstone in the backyard a long time ago, and it's on the patio, and I came by and checked it out. He did have quite a bit of activity when he was getting ready to open. Would hear somebody running up the stairs, thought it was a visitor, of course, runs out into the hall, and there's nobody there. Down here, more so when he was standing over here by the old refrigeration unit, you see a fellow standing over there, go duck behind everything and check it out, and find out there's nobody there. So, as is often the case, if you want to find an answer, you look into what the place used to be beforehand. This used to be a machine shop. Celebrated Medium, originally from Brooklyn, New York, come in and conduct one of his famous seances up there. A number of friends were on hand. Of course, they darkened the entire room, and according to witnesses, a number of specters and spirits arrived. They all came out of a cabinet up there, and they were all dressed in the same expected fashion of a ghost of the time, wearing a white sheet. But the celebrated medium, Dr. Rotherman, was primarily controlled by an Irish ghost with a brogue, very thick brogue. Said that glasses would be thrown about, ornaments that she would set on a little trunk, get tossed about. She would put her dog outside, and she would wake up to her dog sitting at the foot of her bed eating a bone, chewing on a bone. And she'd get up and she'd check outside, look back out in the hall, the dog's outside. She'd look back in, the dog in her room would vanish. That, sure, we've all seen them, the ghosts, the fairies, the prettiest little fairies flitting around in the sunset in the failing light. We saw them when we were kids, we always heard them. A lot of the neighbors were very happy to see the Cave of Apparitions go. But did it go? No, probably not. Still there. They set up a dummy railroad to haul in dirt from the old reservoir that used to be over on Franklin and West 38th, which is being torn down about that time. They brought in all the dirt from there, and they used it to fill in the whole ledgeway where Bulkley Boulevard would run on the bluff above the lake. Today, the Shoreway. As for the Cave of Apparitions, they sealed the entrance. They probably didn't take the time to sit there and fill in the entire thing. I'm going to backtrack for a second. People ask, well, what happened there? Why would it be haunted? Well, we know of two tragic accidents. A boy named James Gallagher did fall, and his condition was life-threatening. Did he die? Hard to say. Trail goes cold. Newspapers don't report on the accident, except saying that they don't expect him to live. Someone that we know that did not live was Samuel Newcomb. Died in 1865. Burned to death at Mac's Brewery cellar. And laid back down, and the woman was in his room again. This time the woman shoved him off the bed onto the floor. And he tussled with whoever it was, thinking there was an intruder in his room, but he pushed his way free of everything. Nobody in his room. And everything, all of his bedding was all twisted into a cone in the middle of his bed. At that same moment, he went out into the hallway to tell everybody that there had been somebody in his room, when his neighbor comes out of her room crying and screaming that her sister Emily had just died. Happened at the same moment. The neighbors upstairs, the neighbor in the room next to him, came out of their room at the same time. Asked him, was somebody in your room? He said, no. Meanwhile, this woman's crying that her sister had passed away. For 2 years, it sat empty. During that time, it gained a reputation as the haunted house. It had a room where all the windows were closed off and covered over, called the haunted room. No child would walk anywhere up and down the street at all without having to run past that part of the house. It was said that there was a man that would go in there at night dragging a chain, and they try to explain away a lot of the disturbances by that, but they never could prove that. In 1866, Patrick Smith bought the house because he could get it for pennies on the dollar, and because he always wanted to see a ghost. One of his neighbors across the street said, I'd have bought it myself if it weren't for the ghosts.